Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ted. I'm your coach of the Sky Strikers. Guys, I'm bringing you guys a team review of the VDL Season 4 of Searing Shot. Yep, we're back again. Um, Now, a little side story. Initially, I didn't want to join, just wanted to take a break from VDL again for a bit. As you guys know, I took one season off 2 seasons ago now, I believe. Um, but a schedule my schedule opened up a little bit more, and they needed a replacement because somebody decided to drop last minute. So I decided to take the spot as Searing Shot once again. So let's go for another run. In Searing Shot, we ended off 4-4 last season. We were really close in getting into playoffs. Unfortunately, we lost out. Towards the end of the season. So hopefully we can turn our luck around. Hopefully get back to playoffs. Um, and prove our worth in the video once again. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So going to the draft, I didn't really have any particular plans. I just wanted to see what was on the board. And depending on my draft position, I would just pick what's available. So I got turns out I got the first overall pick in the Scarlet draft. Yeah, and yes, it's divided between Scarlet and Violet. I was in the Scarlet draft. Um, and yeah, I got the first overall pick, so I could basically pick anything. Um, Now, this particular core is very common currently in the VGC meta. It's something that I've wanted to try and draft since I've been using it on ladder and in game. So, with the first overall pick, I decided to get Dondozo. Yep, I drafted Dondozo. Um, Obviously, it has a low base speed of 35, so it can run under Trick Room. Its defensive prowess, I should say, is really good. Um, you can run Curse Set and just run Body Press with it. I believe no, it doesn't get Body Press. Um, but you can run a curse set with it and just have it under trick room and do a good amount of damage, and boosting your defense each time is great for it. Um, has a few little tech moves. It has yawn, so it can put things to sleep. Wave crash does a lot of damage. If you can do Terra Water, which gives us a boost to its water type attacks, plus wave crash, that's going to do a lot of damage. In addition, with life orb, is just going to do a lot. Um, Now, as you guys know, I did indeed drop the Tatsu Dozogiri. Yeah, Dozogiri combo. I did drafted it. I was kind of debating whether or not to go Tatsugiri first and then Dondozo. Um, but going with the Dondozo first is a little bit risky in my opinion, since anybody can take Tatsugiri, and I think Tatsugiri is slightly better than Dondozo on its own. Um, but yeah, the next two picks actually, my pick is a wheel pick. I got obviously the Tatsugiri and Espathra. Um, I wanted two good, well, yeah, two good special attackers since this generation there are not that many special attackers. It's mostly physical, especially up in the high tiers. Um, So obviously Tatsugiri supports the Dondozo with the commander ability, giving a +2 in each stat, which is really good. Gives it a boost in speed, and depending on the forms, which is 3 forms, one boosts attack, the other boosts defense, and the last one boosts speed. Um, so we can play around with a little bit with that in our matchups. So if we ever need to be defensive, we can run the defensive Tatsugiri. If we need more attack one week, we can run the attack variation. And then if we need to calculate or calc and be faster than something, then we can obviously go with the speed Tatsugiri. So having a little bit of deviation with that is great with the Dundozo. Um, Again, we're kind of vulnerable with any Pokemon that has access to Haze, Clear Smog, things like that. But I'm used to that already. I can work around with that. It's not a massively big issue, but it will be a cause of concern, especially with this next Pokemon, which is Espathra, which relies on its speed boost ability to boost its speed. Even though it's already fast, it has two other really good abilities in Frisk and Opportunist. But Speed Boost is really good on this Pokemon. Has access to Calm Mind. Pair that up with Store Power is just going to do a lot of damage if you get boosts with the Speed Boost and Calm Mind at the same time. That's going to do so much damage. Um, but yeah, like I mentioned, we do have to be careful with the Clear Smog and the Haze coming out every week. But again, not every Pokemon's going to have that, so we can take advantage of that and just do a lot of damage our, our whenever the opportunity strikes for us. Um, but yeah, in addition to that, Espathra does have Trick Room, so I mean, even though it's pretty fast, I guess we can run Trick Room on it if we ever wanted to do Trick Room Dondozo. Um, but it's not something that I'm going to be exactly using. It's there, um, so it's always something in the background you can use. It does get double screens, so we can utilize that. Since our team going forward from here, our team is not exactly bulky, so having double screens is good um, for in this scenario, I guess. Um, the next two picks we have of the Flamingo and the Dodge Bun. So, Flamigo obviously having the ability co-star whenever our Tatsugiri goes down, um, and Dodozo is still alive, obviously with the poison or toxic orb or black sludge strat. Tatsugiri dies in Dodozo's mouth, and then we can switch into something which is the Flamingo, obviously. Switching in that with co-star, copying the stats of Dondozo, and just getting that immediate +2 in each stat is great for Flamigo. Sorry. Since its speed is not entirely great as a base 90 speed, which is not bad per se, but if it was a little bit higher, I think it would be usable. Probably like a 95 or 100 base speed would be usable. But yeah, getting the co-star boost is going to be great. Again, like I mentioned before, this all plays and ties with the haze and the clear smog users. We have to be careful of that. Um, but this Flamigo hits like a truck, especially with a slap on a choice band and just hitting that with the +2 plus a choice band boost. Is just going to do a lot with close combat. Um, its other two abilities are okay. Probably the better one is Scrappy, which allows us to hit ghost types with our normal and fighting moves. And yes, in addition to close combat, Flamigo does get Facade, so um, we're most likely going to get burned. So having Facade there and hitting ghost types with that is going to do major things for our team. So yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. I'm not a really entirely a big fan of Flamigo since it's pretty frail, but it hits really hard. So a little bit of deviation with that, but I think it's alright on this team, and it's really strong next to Dundozo. So yeah, and then Docs, I think it's Doxbun or Dotchbun. I don't know. I think it's Doxbun. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know in the comments below if it's Doxbun or Dotchbun. I'm not sure, but we're gonna call it Doxbun. Um, Provides a good support. We can switch it into any fire type moves and tank that, and just get a +2 in defense, I believe, with the ability Will Baked Body. Um, so pair that up with body press, and that's just going to do so much with that. But it does have a good amount of support moves. It does get a yawn. Let me search up here what the other support moves that it has. Yeah, it has wish support, so we can use that. It has charm, helping hand. Um, yeah, a bunch of other good stuff. It also has access to howl. Um, which is pretty good there. But overall, I think it's a pretty good support Pokemon. It can hit pretty hard. Like base 80 attack is not bad per se, but it could be better. Um, as you know, Play Rough, Stomping Tantrum, Trailblaze, even Second Fings break screens. Um, and yeah, like I mentioned before, Body Press, like pairing that up next to um, something that doesn't want to take a fire type attack, and taking that attack with it goes and miles for the Dock Spun. So yeah, I'm excited to use it. Um, it's not partic from what I've seen from other players have said about it, it's not exactly good, but I want to try it out, see how well it goes. If it doesn't work out, then we can trade for something else for it. But I think it's a good fairy Pokemon. It's pretty interesting with the ability, with the with the ability. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to try it. I think it's the only Pokemon on this team that I haven't used yet. So we'll just see what happens with that. And then the next two picks, I was kind of stumped at this point, especially for the lower tiers since everything at this point was kind of going away. Not so much in the higher tiers. I could wait to the end for that, but in the lower tiers, I wasn't sure about what to pick. So I just went off the whim and just see what what tech moves or what certain types fits on the team. So next up we have the Fungus and we have the Persian as our our other tier 3 and our tier 4. Um, I think these two picks are really great on the supportive side. Obviously, the Fungus provides the Rage Powder support and the Spore support. Um, Having redirection on the team, I think will be pretty good. I think it's a pretty decent Eviolite user, which will probably be running on it. Um, Let me search it up here about the sets. Uh, Basically, Baby Amoonguss, which it is. Does have Clear Smog as well. So if we need to get rid of other stat boosting Pokemon, it's there for that. Um, it's not exactly going to hit hard. Like base 55 special attack isn't great per se, but it's okay. And the same thing with attack, but it's not bad. And Regenerator is good if we need to switch out and get a little bit more health back up. But overall, I think it's a good support Pokemon. Obviously with that Rage Powder and Spore. So yeah, this is basically it for that. It's basically just a bot in most cases. So we'll just see how that goes. And then next up is the Persian. Um, at this point, I wasn't sure how this thing was not off the board. I think Persian is so underrated this generation. Um, it gained a lot of cool tools this gen, so I'm excited to use that. Obviously, it's our fake out support, our fastest Pokemon on this team at a base 115 attack, or not attack, 115 speed. Sorry. Um, has access to Isu, has Snarl, has Charm. So many good useful tech moves that I can play around with. Um, and having access to a technician boosting up fake out and any other low base power moves are great. Um, and let me look at the moves. So yeah, it has Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, has Chilling Water as well. Icy Wind and Snarl, like I mentioned before. Um, as for like the physical side, you can run Foul Play. It has U-turn, Trailblaze to boost its speed even more. Has Last Resort to whenever we use all our moves. Play Rough is also a good move there. And has access to Feint as well. So if we can read any protects coming in and we click Feint, I think that'll be pretty good for other Pokemon that want to do a lot of damage, especially like the Spathra or the Dundozo. So yeah, it's really really good support Pokemon. I really like it. I like its speed. So yeah, we'll just see what happens with that. And then moving on to the next two Pokemon. Um, and like I mentioned previously, like going forward, like I didn't really know what to pick. I just filled in any gaps between our team, and you know what fits. Next up, we have the Corviknight and the Toxtricity. Um, obviously, obviously these are the our point picks at this point, because we used up all our free tiers. I think yeah, free tiers, you could say. Um, but yeah, Corviknight obviously our secondary flying type, um, does get access to Tailwind this generation, so I don't have to. I'm not forced to run Tailwind on the Flamigo. I can run it on the bulky Corviknight. Um, but in addition to that, you know, has body press, has bulk up. I believe it still gets power trip. You know, has defog as well. So many good support moves. I think it can hit pretty hard as well. Um, so yeah, I don't have to necessarily run a supportive set on the Corviknight, but yeah, three good abilities: pressure, unnerve, and mirror armor. Obviously, mirror armor is to deter any intimidate users off this team, because obviously the Dondozo and the Flamigo don't like intimidate, even with the stat boost. So having mirror armor to reflect intimidate is great. Um, let's see, like I mentioned before, the status sides, you know, has Tailwind, has Taunt, Roost, has Reflect and Light Screen, has Iron Defense, Hone Claws, um, has Metal Sound as well, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, lots of good stuff. Um, yeah, and has Defog. So yeah, lots of good things on this on the Corviknight. I'm excited to use it. Haven't used it since the beginning of Gen 8. So um, we'll just see how it goes. I really like this Pokemon. I really want it to work out. So um, I'll try to use it to the best of my ability, and we'll just see what happens with that. And then next up we have the Toxtricity. Um, I needed another good special attacker. Since at this point I've been picking a lot of physical attackers. So Toxtricity in the lower tiers is great. Obviously, it benefits from terrestrialization, especially like going like Terra Normal or Terra Electric. You know, boosting our boom bursts and our overdrives. Um, Now we don't have a ghost type on this team. I can confirm that, but if we can like Terra Ghost something next to it, and just take the boom bursts solely, I think that'll be good. Obviously, it gives access to shift gear, so we can boost our speed since since its speed is not entirely great at a base 75, but um, it can still do a lot. And having two good abilities, Punk Rock and Technician, obviously Punk Rock boosts any sound moves, and then Technician boosts moves that have a base power lower than 60. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to use it. Its defense stats are pretty okay-ish, like base 70 defense and base 70 SPDF. I think those are usable, but the special attack was I'm looking for it at the base 114. So yeah, it's a really strong Pokemon in the lower tiers. Another Mon that I'm excited to use in this draft. So yeah, like I said before, we'll just see how it goes. Um, yeah. And then the final two Pokemon, I just basically picked whatever fits next to everything else on this team. At this point, I didn't really care too much, especially since the tier list has been like fully scrapped and everything's gone. So yeah, I just picked some niche mons and something that may work with our other Pokemon. So the final two are Donphan and Flareon. So Donphan obviously works great next to the toxicity. Mainly we can do spam the disquake option, so obviously we can Terra flying our toxicity and just spam discharge or an overdrive next to the Dom fan. And we can click, and we can also spam earthquake with the Dom fan and just do a lot of damage. Um, it is very slow, however, so we need to keep that in mind. Um, its abilities are okay. Sturdy is pretty good. If we want to live one turn and just do something niche with it. Sand Veil, we don't have sand, so unfortunately we can't run that, but it's a good option if we ever come up against a sand team, which there are sand teams in our division and the other division, I believe. So, um, yeah, if we ever need sand veil, then it's there for that. Um, but yeah, its move pool is actually pretty decent as well. Um, like has Ice Shard, which is pretty unique for a ground type. I don't not many non ice types get ice shards, so that's pretty good. See on the physical side here. So yeah, it's one of the few Pokemon that still has high horsepower, which is something that's kind of sucks going into this generation. Like many Mons lost really good moves, so it's still retaining high horsepower. Um, but it wasn't in the last generation, but it's still having high horsepower is really good. Having Ice Spinner to remove terrain is great, since our team doesn't really like terrain that much per se, in a way. Um, has Rock Slide, Trailblaze, Play Rough, Poison Jab, Knockoff, Iron Head. Like its move pool is super deep, which I really like. It also has Body Press as well, so it can use that next to the 120 base defense and the 120 base attack stat. So yeah, I really like this Pokemon. I really like in the in the lower tiers. Um, again, it's another Pokemon I'm really excited to use, and I haven't used in quite a bit. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. And then finally, we have the Flareon. At this point, at the end of the draft, I wanted to draft Impidimp, but due to the fact I already have a fairy type and I already have screens, but without prankster, it kind of deterred me away for that. I wanted a dark type at this point, especially with since it's a point pick, but there weren't any good dark types in the final tier, so I decided to go with the fire type to complete the Fire Water Grass Core. Fire Water Grass Core, in a sense, it's like a makeshift one with the fungus, but it completes that. Obviously, Flareon hits like a truck with the guts ability. We can terrestrialize it and just into like Terra Grass or a any other type, and then we can activate the Flame Orb with guts. And it's just going to do so much damage with the Stab Facade. Um, or yeah, like I mentioned before, with Terra, we can do like a Terra normal, uh, have the Flame Orb activate, and just do Terra Facade boosted with that. So yeah, it's really good for the lower tier option. Its speed is not entirely great at base 65, but with our Tailwind mode, with we're not Tailwind mode, our Tailwind support, I think it can be pretty good. Um, so yeah, and its Spadef is honestly really good as well, 110. So we just have to see how it goes. I don't I won't bring it to every match, but if I do need it to come, then it's gonna do its thing. So yeah, um, that is my full team, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our team review. I'm excited for this season. Lots of new faces, lots of old ones. So um, yeah, and at the time of this recording, we do know our week one opponent, uh, Taco or just Taco. Um, so yeah, you guys will see that match hopefully next week, I believe, since week one starts February 6th. So look on the channel for that battle next week. Um, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the content, and yeah, I'll see you guys till week one. Peace.